Hello, dear viewer. Ever hear a lyric so bad you gotta go back and make sure that's actually what they said? That happened to me one time. Today, for your viewing pleasure, I've rounded up some of the poorest aging lyrics of all time. By the end of this, I hope to crown a winner, a champion even, of the worst lyric of all time. Without further ado, let's hop in. Pretty easy one here. I can't even really blame the P's either, I don't think. For an incredibly long time, the word was interchangeable with stupid, really. So in the big 2003, when the song was released, there was really no reason to believe this would age poorly. Of course, the song would be torn into shreds had it released today, but again, can't really fault them for this one. What I will slightly fault them for is the mass deletion of this track. I understand why, the title is a slur, asterisk, but outside of YouTube, it's pretty much been wiped off of streaming platforms entirely, replaced by the song Let's Get It Started, which, to be quite frank, makes marginally more sense as a lyric. What does it mean to get redacted? Dear viewer, do let me know. You got some bad friends, high school pics, you was even bad then. You ain't stressing off no. Well, this just wasn't great on the spot, now was it? A lot of these lyrics end up aging poorly, time passes, and vernacular shifts, slang changes. Typically, it can be boiled down to a product of its time. Perhaps no clearer than on that Black Eyed Peas track I just mentioned. This track here, though, what the fuck? Wasn't a great line on release for sure, but man, did it gain some luster after the great Kendrick Lamar Duckworth dropped his balls on Mr. Aubrey's forehead. If you live in a shoebox, Kendrick and Drake had some major beef. One of Kendrick's largest talking points was accusations of Drake being a redacted. When you go back and check the footage and hear the words, high school pics, you was even bad then, the whole puzzle starts to come together. And then there was that whole Millie Bobby Brown thing, but let's stay on our toes, huh? Terrible line, aged even worse. This is a worst of all time contender, I'd say. Well, that just wasn't true now, was it? Guy definitely had a gun, unless she killed him, but again, story for another day. I read into this one a little bit, actually, and found a little excerpt from a Kurt interview where he said, quote, just because I say I in a song doesn't necessarily mean it's me. A lot of people have a problem with that. It's just the way I write, usually. I take on someone else's personality or character. I'd rather use somebody else's example because my life is kind of boring. I just take stories from things I've read off the television or stories I've heard, maybe even some friends. The character in this song didn't have a gun, I guess. But he most certainly had a gun, and, well, fired it into himself. Didn't age the best. This is a tough one for sure. Age ain't nothing but a number. Written and produced by R. Kelly of FCI Butner Medium 1, who of course now is in prison for, to be honest, pretty much everything in the book. This track was an incredibly early preview of the jail sentence we'd see R. Kelly get, as it was written by him and performed by his, at the time, 14-year-old girlfriend, Aaliyah. Mr. Kelly was 26. It's believed the song was an attempt to kind of soften the blow of their relationship to the public world. And while it certainly didn't work in the grand scheme of things, this song came out in '94. Guy went to prison in 2023. That's 19 years that passed. That's older than his girlfriend was at the time. Something to think about. A terribly aged line. And a fairly somber one, to be honest. I want a real love. Dark-skinned and Viv love. That Jada in that real love. Pretty self-explanatory one, I think. Not many relationships are as publicized as poor Will Smith's is, but just from an outsider's perspective, it's a strange relationship these two goofballs have. There was that whole slap thing that I'm sure you saw. Most people did, when old Willie gave Chris Rock the 1-2 for calling his wife, accurately might I add, bald. A little lesser-known trivia, perhaps, is Jada Pinkett Smith's relationship with one Tupac Shakur. They never officially dated, at least according to her. Can't really ask him, he's dead. But Will wrote in his memoir that he was deeply affected by her relationship with Tupac, and the jealousy that came from that relationship was a major problem in their own love life. All that to say, not the most storybook couple Mr. Jermaine Cole could have picked here. There's worse lines out there, though. I made Sunday Candy, I'm never going to hell. I met Kanye West, I'm never going to fail. I mean, what's to say? Harvey, of course, is an Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein. I think he was a producer. I'm not actually sure. I just know him as the guy in jail. He's been in jail for about a decade now, actually, since 2017. Cola, of course, dating back just a little further to 2012. In regards to the line, she said, I envisioned like a benevolent diamond bestowing upon starlet's visual, like a Citizen Kane or something. I thought it was funny at the time, and I obviously find it really sad now. I support the women who have come forward. I think they're really brave for doing that. Obviously, I don't feel comfortable with it now. I thought of that right away. She's since retired the song completely from live shows. Pretty tough line in hindsight for sure, but unlike Drake's line in borderline self-admittance to a crime, this one seems more like an extremely unlucky and relatively unforeseeable event. Probably avoid using any Hollywood producers and lyrics though, fellas. Let's write that one off. Who knows who's next? Probably that tortellini guy that likes feet.
My mama told me stop the painkillers, them shits is killing me. I'ma be fine.
Well, he wasn't fine, actually. The entire song aged fairly poorly. It tackles, to be honest, Juice WRLD's love for drugs. He was kind of like Superman for drug addicts for a while. He was a real progenitor of the glorification of drugs, really. And unlike other bands that tackle drug abuse like Alice in Chains, one of my favorites, a lot of his lyrics came from a place of acceptance of the highs of that lifestyle. And while later Alice in Chains tracks end up showing the consequences of the drug addict lifestyle, the drugs caught up to Juice WRLD far quicker than they did Lane. And by quicker, I mean he swallowed every pill in his pocket because the police were about to search his private jet for drugs. They did, Pac. They killed you, man. In pretty much that exact way, actually. Maybe that's where they got the idea. For those unfamiliar, I suppose, Mr. Tupac Shakur was assassinated in 1996 by a rival gang that shot him 4 times in a drive-by shooting, one bullet piercing his lung and effectively killing him after a couple of days in the hospital. So yeah, they effectively pulled a strap on him and killed him.
Damn, these niggas got me. I hate these niggas more than a Nazi.
Well, Mr. West, what do we have here? I'm not going to go too ham on this one so as to not get a strongly worded letter from the YouTube CEO. But if you've been on the planet at all in the last 5 years, chances are you've heard some absolutely baffling shit exit the mouth of one Kanye West. But I go so far as to call him a redacted? Maybe, maybe not. He said he was sorry, right guys? I don't know, but certainly an incredibly ironic line. This is a tricky one because there's not really one individual lyric I can point and laugh at. Truthfully, the entire song is a catastrophe. The Corn people, also referred to as Children of the Corn, will try to convince you this song is satirical, and perhaps that is true. But I don't think you could drop this song today with all the slurs. It's a rap battle between 2 of the greatest lyricists who have ever lived in Jonathan Davis and Fred Durst of Limp Bizkit. The battle ensues, and boy does it get violent. And by violent, I mean uncomfortably homophobic. They pretty much just call each other gay for 4 minutes and 49 seconds, featuring genuine poetry like, and I'll suck you, and I'll fuck you, and I'll butt fuck you, and I'll eat you, and I'll lick your little dick, motherfucker. All back to back, by the way. Another fantastic line is, you pumpkin pie, I'll jack off in your eye. I guess it's an attempt on absurdist lyricism, but it's done exclusively through rampant homophobia, using being gay as an insult, which in the Big 26, can't do that, Fred.
Time to get paid, blow up like the world's trade. Born sinner, the opposite of a winner.
Yikers. This one's odd, to be honest. It sounds like he predicted 9/11 almost a decade before it happened, but this is actually in reference to a completely different attack on the same buildings. In 1993, a group of terrorists blew up a van in the basement parking lot of the North Tower. It did very little damage, but was more so a protest to America's support of Israel at the time. That's interesting. Of course, the song looks far worse now, but following the September 11th attacks, the song was censored on radio stations, completely omitting the words World Trade out of the song. Of course, Biggie would be assassinated prior to the 9/11 attacks, thus making this the sickest picture of all time. This song was also produced by P. Diddy, which actually makes this the singular worst aging song of all time, if you ask me. This is my pick. This is my GOAT.
I've got another confession to make.
That he did, dear viewer, that he did. Dave Grohl of the Foo Fighters would of course confess to having an affair and knocking up the woman from said affair, who I just learned is named Jennifer Young. It's sad, to be honest. For a long time, Dave Grohl was this pillar of a frontman. He just seemed like the most likable motherfucker on the planet, until the incident, of course. I did read some funny shit about Miss Young, though. I guess they interviewed a friend of hers who said that she wasn't even a big fan of the Foo Fighters, and doubted she got pregnant intentionally. Even the women Dave Grohl is knocking up aren't fans of the Foo Fighters. My God. More accurately, she died in the back of his car, her, of course, being Celeste Rivera, David's 14-year-old partner, whom he allegedly... Who am I kidding? He did that shit. He killed her and then put her corpse in the back of his car. Sorry my shirt changed. I forgot this one, and I knew if I didn't include it, 250 people in the comments would certainly inform me of my mistake. What's wilder is really how long it took for this guy to get arrested. I think somewhere around a year passed after they found a dead body in his trunk and his arrest. Pretty wild shit, but it genuinely seemed like the entire internet was already certain he did that shit. And I mean, it looked pretty bad. Guy had her shoes or something, wrote songs about her, is in pictures with her, she was in his trunk. I mean, my God, the sheer amount of evidence here is genuinely something to note, man. And that's all I've got here. Thank you very much for watching, dear viewer. Let me know what you think is the worst aging lyric of all time. Subscribe if you enjoyed, maybe, and I hope to see you in the next one.